Breeding for Mollies. Breeding for Mollies. Well, hello, fishy folks. Happy Friday. Today is going to be a Molly-centric day. We're going to talk about my Mishmash Molly tank. So let me tell you a little bit about this tank if you don't know, if you haven't been with me for a while. When I originally started the fish room, and as I continue to grow the fish room, it is a breeding for profit fish room, which means I buy a trio or 5 or so of a particular fish, and then I breed it and I sell the babies. I sell my fish online at my website, www.michaelsfishroom.com. Occasionally I sell on eBay, but I'm probably stopping that. And if you're local, I will certainly meet you and let you pick up some fish. Not in my fish room, but I'll meet you somewhere. Anywho, this particular tank is a 30 breeder. It has the same footprint as a 40 breeder, and except it is a little shorter. And what I liked about it when I saw it was I thought, great, it's not very tall. It'd be great for growing plants, and I'll do a growing for profit tank. Unfortunately, I really haven't done that. It pretty much became a catch-all tank for oddball fish. Originally, it had creamsicle layer-tail mollies from PetSmart, and one day I had an extra black molly and I just threw it in here not really thinking about it, and then I started getting these gold dust like mollies about a month later, and that's pretty much how it is. It's pretty much a catch-all tank for me. You can see there's a really good looking guppy in there. There's some oddball swordtails. There's a neon swordtail. Again, actually I think there's about 2 or 3 neon swordtails. Again, if you haven't been with me a while, right above it, this tank was a 40 breeder, and it had my colony of neon swordtails. I sold that colony off. At least I thought I sold the whole colony, but looked like fry had been dropped. So when I had like an inch of water in the tank, I was catching all these little baby fry, and I guess there was like 3 or 4 that I missed before I sent the colony to the buyer, and I threw them in here. But as I was in the fish room this morning, I was watching this tank, and it's very fun to watch. You know, the mollies swim around, they eat. There's a ginormous pleco. I don't know if you can see it. There's his tail right there. It's a common pleco that was in a cichlid tank that my son had in his room, and when he gave up, I adopted that pleco. He's probably about 6 inches long. I'm about ready to bring him to the local fish store. Probably when it warms up, I'll catch him and bring him to my local fish store. And then somebody will buy him and put him in a pond or something. But this tank is teeming with life. There is clearly lots of, how shall we put it, boom chicka boom boom going on, because there's fry everywhere, all different sizes. All molly fry, it looks like, which wouldn't surprise me, because I don't know if there's all males or all females as far as swordtails go, but wouldn't surprise me if they all were molly fry. But like, some of these mollies just look spectacular. You know, that nice big sail fin on that one, it's not bad. There's some Dalmatian mollies in here, which also I got from I don't know where, and I threw them down in here. And it looks like there's some white mollies, and I don't remember ever getting white mollies, so that just might be a product of whichever mollies got together and had some platinum molly babies. Some people call them white, some people call them platinum, but just like guppy names, I think if you put a fancy name to them, people will want them more. I don't know. There's some food stuck in some of this floating water wisteria. So let's talk about the growing for profit tank. I bought some dwarf sage, I think. I don't even know if it's still in here, and you know, put it all on the bottom. But and then there was some water wisteria, which is just junk right now, and of course duckweed. And what else? Oh, there's this big pothos plant, which basically is to suck up nitrate. So there's only 3 tanks in my fish room that are not on my auto water change system, and that is this tank right here, the 15 that houses my goldfish next to it, and of course the beta tank on my workbench. And while I was sitting here watching this tank, I'm like, well, I could fit 4 more tanks down here if I take these 2 tanks down, or at least I can fit 3 20s in the spot of this 30. When I do my fish room renovations. And that's what got me thinking, what do I do with all these mollies and oddball swordtails? I would probably have to dedicate one of those tanks to oddballs, catch-all fish, I would leave the 15 because it has the same it's the same width as a 20. I could fit 2 20s and a 10 just like up top here, and one of those 20s probably will be dedicated to the oddball fish. Now let's talk about mollies. How to breed mollies. Pretty much the same way as guppies. They're live bearers. They seem to drop fry for me not as frequently as guppies. I would say every 35 days. If I were to actually track it, which I don't do. But you need pretty much the same ratio as guppies, so 1 male to at least 2 females. 3 females would be better. Certainly that would help spread out the aggression. And when I mean aggression, I mean fighting aggression. I mean sexual tension, I guess you'd have to call it. But and just like guppies, they will definitely breed. They don't need to like each other like angels, or they don't find a mate like other cichlids do. They will just do the nasty, if you will. So lots of cover in the tank, Java moss, Christmas moss, anything. I use water wisteria because it grows like a weed, and Java moss because I have a lot of it. Not enough to sell yet, but I do have a lot of it. Even in this tank, there's pothos that's submerged, and that's fine as long as there's a place for the babies to hide. Of course, I like sponge filters. Not only do they require very, very low maintenance, but they also give a place for the fry to eat off of. So, if you feed itty bitty tiny crushed up flake food, that's good, but those bits and particles will get sucked up into the sponge filter on the surface, and then the fry can go and nibble on it and graze when they're hungry, because they're hungry a lot. What else about breeding mollies? Probably is going to take you I don't know, about 6 weeks or so to sex them out, and you sex them out the same way as we talked about in the chocolate molly video, but essentially their bottom fin, if it's straight, it's a male. If it's sort of triangular shape, it's a female. And in most live cases, the males look better. So I'm trying to show you a good example of a male and a female. So that platinum is a male. Well, actually, I can't tell. It's a female. I was going to say it was a female, then I saw its fin, and I'm like, huh. All right, so that's a female because when it flashed its fin, it was triangular shape. And this guy is a male, that sort of gold dust, and I can just tell by how big his sail fin is. So a gold dust sail fin molly. So mollies will eat some algae. I wouldn't consider them algae eaters, but they do eat some algae. They will also hunt and eat their fry just like other live bearers, which is why you need the cover. Apparently mollies and guppies can cross, and you get a muppy or a golly, whatever you want to call it. But to my knowledge, if they do cross, their babies are sterile, so they're not going to have babies. I've actually never seen one in real life. I've just heard about it and read about it on the internet, which must make it true. I've also heard about muppies breeding in, with other muppies and them having babies. Never seen it, but I did hear about it on the internet. Again, must make it true. I think that's about it for Mollies. So really, how to breed Mollies. I would start with nothing smaller than a 20-gallon tank, because they do get pretty big. You want to feed high quality food, real high quality flake food or frozen food or live food is always the best, but that can get pricey and a pain in the hiney. I mean, pretty much in my fish room, I only feed flake food from Fish Freaks Plus. So, and you can see all the babies I have. So, high quality flake food definitely works. If someone tells you different, ask if they've ever tried it, because I bet their answer is no. All right, so let's start over. You want at least a 20-gallon tank. You want at least 1 male to 2 female ratio. 1 to 3 is even better if you can do it. Plenty of cover, fake plants, weird decorations, rocks for the fry to hide in, whatever it may be. And I always like the sponge filter. If you have a hang on the back filter or another type of filter, whatever the intake situation is, make sure you put an intake sponge on that. That will also serve the same purpose as the sponge filter, as far as gathering food particles for the fry to graze on. But it will, really what it's there for, if you have a filter with an intake, it'll protect the fry from getting sucked up in there, because they're not that good swimmers, not that strong swimmers yet. So how to breed Mollies, pretty easy. If you have any questions or comments, certainly shoot me an email or comment on this video. I do try to answer all of my comments. And if you want to buy any of these Mollies, email me at michaelsfishroom@gmail.com. None of these are up on my website, michaelsfishroom.com, because they're just basically assorted Mollies. But if you email me, we could probably work something out. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them when I move these tanks. I do have black Mollies. I think they're on the website. If not, they'll be on the website shortly. You can also email me about those. So hope everyone has a great Christmas Eve and Christmas, and hope your Hanukkah was good. I don't know when Kwanzaa is. Again, if I offended you, doesn't really bother me. Yeah, so that's that. Have a great day, everyone. So, I wouldn't be wasting. Whoa, space. Wow, we had a camera gimbal failure. I'm guessing the battery went dead. So, yeah, this is one of those times where, if I had bloopers, I would add one. That's weird. I might edit that out. We'll see. Anyway, that's my little guppy spiel. Completely lost my train of thought. I got nothing. 0. How to breed Mollies. Breeding Mollies in 3 easy steps. Let's talk about breeding Mollies. Do you want to breed the Molly fish? The Molly fish? No. If I was a Molly, how would I breed? How about we talk about, I don't know, breeding Mollies? Fish room update? Breeding Mollies in the fish room? Let's talk about how to breed Mollies and my Molly breeding for profit tank, which is also a growing for profit tank. Let's talk about, in a very special episode of Michael's Fish Room, how to breed mollies for profit. And mollies really aren't that aggressive. Some mollies will eat, or I should say, mollies will eat some algae. I've never seen them eat. I had really bad blackbeard algae in here, or blue-green algae, some kind of algae. They didn't eat it, but they do eat some kind of algae. Basically, what I just said was a waste of your time. Other live plants, whatever it